Right, everybody, welcome back. Sam's Army Match Week 33. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to start with the Premier League, where it was a North London nightmare weekend, and Pep peaking at the right time. Halftime will be a fascism-related weekly What If. Rest around the world, Champions League chatter, and an extra spicy MLS minute. And stoppage time with having Toney's best bets and everybody's favorite segment, GOAWs. Now, time to welcome in this week's panel of beauties. We will keep this short and sweet for the intro questions. We'll start with Mr. Mitchell Goulet. Who do you think is going to win World Cup 2026?
The way you word things always makes me want to go to HR, but then I'm like, do I really have a case? Probably not. Spain. Spain is theirs to lose.
Okay, all right. Tyler Nathaniel Terrence, the acclaimed. Wait, actually, you corrected me last time. You're no longer the acclaimed. What is it now? Top play-by-play announcer Tyler Nathaniel Terrence is back. Same question. Who do you think is going to win the World Cup this summer? Really? Everybody? Huh.
Yeah.
Are they the odds-on favorite right now?
Yeah.
I feel like France might be.
I would have guessed France. Really, I would have guessed France to be
Last I checked, it's Spain, France, but kind of a wash either way.
I'll say France just to mix it up.
I was going to say France, so one of us will take France and we'll mix it up. Okay, all right, move on. So Mitch and Tyler are here with us this week. Before we get to the rest of the program, though, quick shout out to Sam's Army Patreon and our Discord, beloved Discord members. I'm trying to open the chat as we speak. Johnny, who on the podcast is most likely to get a red card for pulling hair. Oh, we'll get to that, Johnny. Don't you worry. But if you're not in the Sam's Army Discord, get in the Sam's Army Patreon to get access to the Discord, also to the live chats, to Mikey's Open Mikey Night, not the name, and whatever else we've been cooking up in the Sam's Army Patreon. $3.99 a month, easiest, best way to get into the coolest little soccer community in the U.S. Actually, in North America. Let me correct myself. All right.
Before we move on, just a quick housekeeping item. Mikey Podcast has been suspended for this episode. Sam said that he's not allowed on the podcast for at least 1 week. They're going to review it. Mikey did appeal. The appeal was rejected. The tiff that is currently going on between Mikey and Sam, which was technically started by Sam for outing a bit, it is his fault. Sam, in true fascism nature, decided to actually suspend Mikey from the podcast. We, the co-hosts of Sam's Army, stand with Mikey. We have standards just like the USL players should have standards, and we stand with Tommy. We stand with Mikey. So hopefully he'll be bigger, better, faster, stronger, although he won't be on this episode because Sam decided that he's not allowed back on. And the petulance that's currently going on between Alex Cooper and Alex Earl, it's basically, it's more petulant than that right now. So we stand with Mikey, but we have to be here contractually, so that's where we stand.
It's a hostile locker room at the moment, and I don't think I'm going to be truly on my A game today in solidarity, because I know Mikey would be on his A game if he were here, if he were allowed to be here. But the dictator that is Samuel Army is not allowing that. So we appreciate your guys' thoughts at this time. We are standing strong for Mikey, and hopefully he's back next week.
Pray for Mikey.
Wow. I am taken aback by how
organized we are. Yeah, I bet.
Yes, I actually am. Mikey, just for the record, everybody can make up their own mind. My position is Mikey was absolutely not suspended. Nobody's been suspended. And nobody probably ever will be suspended. But listen, we'll get into the dictator talk and the fascism stuff later. Okay, what if? For right now, we're moving on. And I'm not even.
You know something? I'm gonna fucking suspend. I'm gonna suspend you. Next time your internet craps out, I'm suspending you. You're the host of this podcast. Figure out your internet in your own house. I'm about done with it. I'm gonna start suspending. I'm gonna host the pod, and we might just end up giving the people what they want. Power to the people.
Now, listen, the time before last week, so 2 weeks ago, I couldn't even tell that I was delayed. Am I delayed again? Is this bad?
Crapped out. You crapped out for a hot sec. You're fine right now.
Okay. All right. We'll stay on here. I'm not calling you guys liars, but I'm saying there might be something going on beneath the surface here. All right, let's move on. Actually, one more housekeeping thing. We got to give a shout out to the winner of the NCAA Sam's Army bracket pool. So the winner was Drew 07047. So congratulations, Drew 07047. You did quite well. You were in the 99 around the country. So obviously that's pretty good. TJ Mariano, I think he's actually in the Discord. Shout out to TJ. He got second place. And everybody in the top 10 was obviously Michigan pickers. The top picker of, or the top finisher of a non-Michigan team was Breezy. Shout out to Breezy in the Discord. Unfortunately, UConn couldn't bring it home. All right. The Discord chat. I'm catching up here. Quack, quack. Sam gets suspended when Spurs goes down. Oh, yeah, guys. Let's not worry about that just quite yet. It's coming soon. All right. Weekend preview or recap. Excuse me. Fred Rogers. Sam knows you can get internet from providers other than AOL, right? By the way, I was throwing AT&T under the bus at my last place, so I moved. We now are at Verizon. So now I'm going to start throwing Verizon under the bus if they don't sort this nonsense out. All right, weekend recap. Oh, what a weekend. Some shuffling at the top, some shuffling at the bottom. Big games at the top. Arsenal losing at home to Bournemouth. Whew, 2-1. Chelsea clapping. Actually getting clapped by Man City, 3-0. Now, at the bottom of the table, pretty much everything that could go wrong for Tottenham did go wrong. West Ham beat the brakes off of Wolves 4-0. We lost to Sunderland 1-0. Villa and Forest drew. And then Leeds United just got done beating United 2-1 at the Stadium of Dreams, or whatever the hell Old Trafford is these days. So basically everything that could go wrong for Tottenham went wrong, including injuries galore. So let's throw it over to you, Tyler. Where do you want to start? What game or games sort of stand out to you?
I think it's got to be the title race. We'll get to the bottom of the barrel eventually, but Bournemouth, Arsenal, City and Chelsea. The way in which those two things happened, the overall just lack of creation from Arsenal. Again, they're in control of the game, but Bournemouth were good enough, and they're on this ridiculous unbeaten run, and they obviously have been playing well. But seeing the ruthlessness that the Cherries can display at the Emirates, and then seeing the ruthlessness that City displayed at Stamford Bridge, I'm overly convinced that City is going to be winning this title. I've been saying this, I haven't believed that the entirety of the season, basically. So what I mean by that is that I'll joke and tease Arsenal about playing dog shit football until the cows come home, but I'm a man enough to know that over the past 7 months, Arsenal has clearly been the quote-unquote best team. I never truly I didn't believe that a team that played that style of football should be able to win the Premier League, but I sort of had come to terms with it at that point in time. And that's also because there wasn't anybody else who was playing the type of football that we're used to seeing that wins the Premier League. City displaying that at Stamford Bridge, and then Arsenal doing what they were doing at home, coming out of the international break, and this sort of being the official start of the sprint to the finish. There's one team that looks like they're going to crack on and win a title right now. That's just and that's based off of one game. We'll see what happens this weekend, but I don't know how else I'm supposed to feel after watching those two games unfold.
That's fair. And of course, the setup here is that on Sunday, Arsenal traveled to the Etihad to play Man City in a game that a lot of people are calling a title decider. But Mitch, what are your thoughts? You've been watching Arsenal all season. You watched them for however many seasons going now. This is you're right there again. But does it feel like it's kind of slipping from your fingers?
Yeah, I don't know if either of you are familiar with the artist Bo Burnham. He has a song called That Funny Feeling, and it's about having that funny feeling again that something's gonna go wrong, and his is about society, but that funny feeling is back, that it's the time of the year where the B word starts showing up quite often, and then it stops being a joke and there starts being some validity behind it. We look like shit, dude. We look like if we make the right decision and we make the safe pass 95 times in a row, that the ball's just going to end up in the back of the net, that someone's going to do it, and hopefully they're wearing a red kit, but who knows. It doesn't look like anybody wants to go win the league, and we have some key injuries in Timber and Saka, but for the most part, dude, this is our team, and we should be able to beat or at least get a point against a Bournemouth side at home when we're down to the business end of the season. Our performance mixed with the declarative nature of City's performance is scary. It puts me in a really bad headspace. We have Champions League, but I am not the only one to say that, like, we're not the favorites to win Champions League. I think Bayern's the best team in the world right now, and they prove it in the Bundesliga and they prove it in Champions League. We skated by Sporting in the Champions League, and now we have to go back home and defend against a 1-goal lead, which is something I think we can do. But man, it just doesn't feel like good energy. It doesn't feel like we're going to bring this home. I know we're in an advantageous position right now. We're 6 points at the top. City have a game in hand. But this time next week, I could be in a really dark headspace.
Yeah.
There was a point, and I think it was up until this weekend, where if you guys had drawn the City game, you would have won. You would have won the league.
Yep.
Like, I think that there was an understanding that between the Newcastle, Fulham, West Ham, Burnley, and Crystal Palace games that remained for Arsenal, that you guys were going to do enough. Should the lead have been what should have been, let's say you collected all 3 points, it should have been 9 points at the end of this.
All but mathematically secured, yes.
If you had gotten that point. Now you done fucked it up. And the fact of the matter is that you guys have lost 3 out of your last 4 games, hard stop. The only win that you have in the last 4 games is 1-0 at Sporting, which I don't want to say you were lucky to come away with that result, but it was touch and go. You like, and to your point, nobody wants to go win the league. Now you have to go win it at the Etihad. You have to. That's the only, like, and I don't know if you guys are capable of doing this, and I don't know what it would look like from like a tactical standpoint, but if I'm Mikel Arteta, I think if you're passive again in this game, you will get beat again in this game. I think you have to go like balls to the wall first 15, 20 minutes and try to nick a goal. Like you have to set the tone, and there needs to be some sort of mental reset in this specific game that you guys are the instigators, you guys are the champions elect, and that you're the ones in the driver's seat.
I don't think going balls to the wall necessarily mean, nicking a goal in the first 15 minutes. I don't think that has to mean opening up and going an all-out attack and really just throwing caution to the wind. There's not a huge change tactically from what we are doing to what we can do to score 2 to 3 goals a game. It's that no individual player is willing to take on that responsibility, willing to shoulder the goal scoring if it's not from a set piece. It's frustrating to watch. It is too careful. It's too methodical. We don't want to get caught on the counter, so we have 14 players behind the ball at all times. It's like, man, this is a team with so much talent, and that is supposedly built to win the league in style, in depth, but they get out there, and for 90 minutes, they make such safe, reserved decisions. There's individual moments of brilliance here and there, but it's never one right after another. It's never for more than 10 minutes at a time. And any pressure that we have on an opponent feels not threatening. Like, it can be forward pressure on goal, and we can have physical bodies in their third, but there's very few points where we get in threatening, shooting, scoring positions. And that's a huge difference than having tons of possession in the final third. Something needs to change, man. I'm tired.
What's going to change this late in the year?
I don't know. I'm not the coach.
I think this is who you guys are. I think your biggest hope is City aren't the City that we think that they are over the past 2 games that they've played, between the League Cup final in between the Chelsea game. That's your biggest hope, because that was always the caveat of you guys potentially bottling it, was if City goes on a run and doesn't lose for 7 or 8 games straight.
I think the reality of this upcoming Arsenal City fixture is somewhere in the middle of their last game and our last game. I think we played really poorly. Again, no Saka, no Timber. It makes a difference. Both of those players are 2 of the 3 most impactful players on the ball. And I think, City played Liam's Chelsea, which has well-documented woes. So I think the reality is somewhere in the middle of that. Momentum leans City.
Do you start Timber?
If healthy, yeah. If healthy, yeah. I thought there was the Premier League website said he had a 75% chance of playing this weekend, so I started him in FPL. Apparently not. I am fine if he takes this midweek off and just prepares for Sunday. I am fully okay.
That's what I'm asking. Would you start?
Oh, you're saying? No, I wouldn't start him on Wednesday.
Because then you're running let me put it this way.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys lose this, if you for whatever reason get bounced this week heading into that game, I think that's calamitous. I think you guys go into that game against City with your tail between your legs, like with the full understanding that this is like if you bottle that game, it's over.
Certainly is. I trust our defense as a whole. That hasn't been the problem all year. Like we have a talented back 4 with depth. I think Timber just offers something that none of the other fullbacks do, even MLS. I would get him a run in on Wednesday. I don't think I would start him unless he is truly fully fit and he, that's where he feels most comfortable. But either way, no, you're right. Like, you zoom out a little bit. If we do not, I don't even think we should play for a draw, which is something that we're going to do, and it's going to piss me off, and we're going to draw 1-1 and end up going through. That's not convincing enough. We need to win at home to advance, to feel good going into the weekend.
I was going to say, there's a scenario here where it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't with this Champions League game, because you obviously don't want to lose and you don't want to crash out of the Champions League. But at the same time, if you win, you then are going to have 2 more games on your schedule coming up, whereas City's basically focused on the league at this point. So, but you obviously don't want to lose this game and go into a City game coming off of what did we just say? Like four losses in 5 games. I mean, that would obviously just not be the vibes you want going into the biggest game of the season. I mean, I'm in a position right now where it's like I should be enjoying watching you guys crumble, and I'm getting 0.0 enjoyment out of it because I'm in too much of a shit position on my own that I'm getting 0 enjoyment from watching Arsenal potentially bob.
If it makes you feel any better, I had like the best weekend of watching soccer that I've had in such a long time this weekend. Like, everything went Liverpool's way. Villa draw, Chelsea lose, United lose, Liverpool win, City win, Arsenal lose. I could not have asked for a better 72 hours of watching soccer. So if it makes you happy knowing that your friends are happy, I have not had a better time I can't remember.
It absolutely does not. It gives me 0 enjoyment. But let's touch on you quickly before we get to the
We're fucking back. We're winning the Champions League. We're beating PSG. Do you see Soboslai's comment? He said, "I'm willing to fucking die out there on the field on Tuesday night," and I believe him. I genuinely believe him. I'm telling you, if we win, if we somehow get past PSG, we are going to win a trophy, and Arsenal will not. And I want an entire podcast to myself, with none of you jamokes on it, so that I can just wax poetic on what we have witnessed this season. I'm just warning all of you out there. If you're paying $3.99 a month, just know that probably $1 of that for the month of June is going to be dedicated to just me by myself talking for an hour to myself. Just know.
I mean, this sounds like you would get on there with like a big thing of Vaseline and just go to town for
go to town.
Just go to town on yourself.
Listening to myself talk, which is usually what I do most weekends anyway. But I'm just like,
Me too.
we might be back. We might be. I'm not willing to say it just yet, but there was an energy against Fulham that we haven't seen against a Premier League team maybe since like the first few weeks of the season. So,
are you back in on Slot, or are you still completely out?
I've spoken on so many different platforms talking about Slot. What was the last thing I said? That I would be okay. That I would be okay.
Pretty sure you were kind of like, he's got to go. I'm pretty sure that's where you were.
No, I didn't say it like that. I feel like I was like pretty. I was pretty nuanced about it. I said like I could understand if they did get rid of him, but like with the context of what happened during the offseason, like I would also understand them going to roll with him heading into 26-27. I feel like that was I feel like, because that's been my take for the most part over the past couple of weeks. And that's where I still am, is that I think that they're going to give it. I think that they're going to give it to him. I have been wildly frustrated with what's happened for the most part this year. This team is too talented to not qualify for Champions League. But if we qualify for Champions League, finish ahead of United, and somehow get past PSG, of course he should keep his job. Because if somebody had told you that that's what was going to have happened this year anyway, everybody would have been okay with that. It's just the way that it's gone down.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I had written down from this weekend on the positive side of the ledger, which there weren't many positives. It was nice seeing Mo Salah, score a goal. Obviously, you're, and Rui and Ngamoha scoring was nice as well. It was obviously.
What did you just call him?
Dude.
What did I just say?
Bro, you just said Rui and Ngamoha. You just combined Rui Hachimura and then some nondescript player. That was the worst. That was the worst one you've ever done. Ever.
I'll do worse. I mean, I think I'll probably do worse even this week.
Okay. All right. I have a lot of young broadcasters that'll reach out to me asking me for tips and advice on like how to make it, quote unquote. And I'm going to say the same thing to you that I say to them. Instead of coming up with this beautifully like well-crafted rundown that like looks pristine and looks like it belongs in a TV newsroom, let's just like start with the basics, like how to pronounce players' names. Like I feel like that's probably where we should start.
Pronounce it for me, just so I have it. What is it?
Why don't you Google his name and tell me how you think it's pronounced?
This is not the pop quiz that I was looking for at this point.
The people love this. The people want it. They need it. So just know that you're doing the Lord's work, even though it's at your expense, which most things are on this podcast and in the Discord.
I mean, let's do the first name first. Let's do the first name first. 3 letters.
Rui?
That's what.
No.
Ru?
Wrong.
Roy? Ruppy? Robbie? What are we looking at here? Isn't it R-U-I? I thought that was his first name.
I thought you were reading this. No.
This is okay. Can I ask a serious question?
I wasn't reading this. I was actually doing this off of memory.
I want to ask a serious question.
It's Rio. This whole time I thought it was Rui. All right. I'm a moron.
Were you dyslexic when you were younger and they sort of like beat it out of you?
I'm not saying no. I was never diagnosed. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I had some sort of learning disability as a small child.
Because there's no way for the amount of soccer that you watch that you haven't seen his name at least 1,900 times this season written out on FOTMob, on NBC when they do a lower font. Like, there's no way you haven't seen it written out. There's zero chance.
I think you're right.
I'm asking genuinely as your friend. Like, I think you might be dyslexic. Like, there's no way that's...
And I'm saying you might be right. I'm not actually denying this at all. It would make a lot of sense, honestly. To be
because also... you've butchered Arne Slot at the beginning, and you called him Sloot, like as if there were 3 O's in his name.
I think I heard some English. Listen, one of the problems is that I'm probably dyslexic. Number 2 problem is that if you're listening to English commentators, they butcher every goddamn name. So if you're listening to them,
that's not true. They only butcher the Hispanic ones. And to your credit, you don't discriminate based upon like not being white as a reason why you are mispronouncing their name. So you have that going for you.
It's true. But true. I'm equal opportunity over here. This whole time, I actually did think in my mind it was RUI. That was just I didn't Rio. When I see something and I just like clock it in my mind, it's in my mind. And in my mind, it was just Rui. So I'm all right. Rio.
That's dyslexia.
It probably is. Rio and Ngamoha. Is that right?
That would have been acceptable, and I wouldn't have been all that upset with you.
Okay.
It's Rio and Ngamoha.
Ngamoha. All right. We're close. We'll get to the bottom of this. We'll get actually a speech expert on, and they'll diagnose my problems. All right. So listen, we're done fluffing Liverpool for the time being. Let's get to the clown show at the bottom of the table. And honestly, it's really not even a clown show. It's a 4-team battle with one clown at the moment. Because, other teams that are in this relegation battle, they look like they know they're in a relegation battle and they're playing as such. Like, shout out to West Ham and to Nottingham Forest and to Leeds. They all showed up this weekend. West Ham put a 4-0 beatdown on Wolves in an absolute must-win. Leeds just beat Manchester United at the Theatre of Dreams. And Nottingham Forest put in a good shift, 1-1 on Aston Villa. And then you have Tottenham Hotspur, which is just, a hot mess. We've been a hot mess. We are a hot mess. Like, I had this very sort of a small little ball of hope in my heart coming out of last week. And, we got the De Zerbi, era has started. It sounds like we're getting healthy. We got Kudus coming back. I was like, okay, listen, this isn't a must win against Sunderland. It'd kind of be a little bit like found money if we won, but I got some hope. I actually have some optimism here. And then we had Kudus going down. It sounds like he's out for God knows how long. You had Romero getting hurt in the game. You had us pretty much doing nothing for 90 minutes. Sunderland, credit to them, did what they do. My only complaint here is the Brian Brobby, who I'm a huge fan of. He's played incredibly well this season. I thought that was a complete cheap shot bullshit when he pushed Romero into our goalkeeper, hurting our goalkeeper and Romero. Romero is apparently now done, likely for the season. So I did not like that from Brobby. But other than that, like, it's not like we deserve to win. So I can't really complain about, other things in the game. We suck. We stink. I've been saying the same shit for months now. It's just we are bad. And not only are we bad, because obviously West Ham, Leeds, and Forest, for their part, have been not great as well. That's why they're in this relegation battle. But we don't look like we, A, know we're in a relegation fight, and definitely, B, know what to do about it. These players look just sort of like when Simons came on with, 10 minutes to play, he just looked like, I'm going to get a little run in here, a weekend run, and, I'll stay in shape. He didn't look like he really wanted it. I don't know why I'm just calling him out, because there's, umpteen other guys that fit the same bill. But, like, this team, we're not built for this, and it shows. And I, like, it a lot of people said after this game, they're like, wow, this is a everybody's got the message now that this is a real relegation battle. Listen, if it took till this game to realize that Spurs might legitimately go down, you're more dyslexic than me, because there's been multiple games in the past month that have been just absolutely disgusting. The game against Forest was the one that it was like, it clicked for me, like, oh shit, we might legitimately go down. And I'm now sort of ready. Not really. I mean, I think I'm ready, but I'm not really ready for us to go down. But I think it's a legitimate possibility. And I don't know. I'm just sort of sitting here watching this slow motion train wreck I don't really even know what to root for, because everybody that I would want to sort of come to our rescue, guys like Romero, guys like Kudus, guys like Kulusevski, guys like Madison, they're not coming. They're not walking through that door. So this team that we have, I don't know who steps up. Like Mitch is talking about how, there hasn't been enough guys that are willing to sort of just try shit for Arsenal. Like, I don't think that there is anybody on Spurs that's just willing to fucking care. It just doesn't look like they give a shit. And so I'm very scared. I don't know what else to say about it. We suck. The other 3 teams in this relegation scrap, not only do they look like they're better, but they look like they care more. So yeah, we might go down, and we might fucking deserve it.
Can I offer up like a Goodwill Hunting "it's not your fault" moment for a second? Like,
I need something.
I like. I was thinking about this today for God knows what reason while I was prepping for Orange County and Sporting Lexington that I have Lexington Sporting, sorry, over the weekend, and I was like, you know what? If I was a player in this club over the past 3 years and have gone through what the ownership has put them through, with fired coach after fired coach, with playing style change after playing style change, with injury after injury, with no identity after no identity, and the one piece of success that you did have, the one coach who actually seemed to have gotten some sort of response as the player from the players was fired immediately after. Like, you talk about them not giving a shit, I'd be right there. And maybe they respond over the next several games, but the fact of the matter is that, like, when you have this much change in such a short window, how do you think the players feel about the badge that they're representing?
Yeah.
What do you have to care about at that? Like, there's nothing concrete about the identity of your team, your teammates, the front office, the coach. There's not that there's nothing to care about, but like, there's nothing stable to care about. And you kind of know for a fact that at the end of this season, regardless of which division you are in, that team looks a hell of a lot different next year. So whether you're a part of it or not, do you care? Playing for a contract? You're playing for the club's life?
These are all good points and fair questions and everything. And I think it also comes in the context of a world in which we live, where I don't know if players feel as sort of strongly about the clubs that they play for as they used to. Like, it's just sort of the world in which we live.
I had that thought while Tyler was talking. You know how like everything sucks now? That has to extend to the football world in some capacity, right? Like, they are paid extremely well, but with the fixture congestion and the state of fucking everything, like, identifying with a club feels rarer and rarer now. And it's super easy to be like, oh, well, back in the old days, Totti played for 20 years for the same club. And like, that's great. And we're probably never going to get another player like that. But there were other players that stayed at clubs for like 8 to 13 years. There were players that stayed at clubs for such long stretches and built identities and careers there and were given more than a season to develop, and coaches that were given more than a season to develop. The turnover now of everything, of everyone in every industry, is just greater, and it comes at a cost. And sometimes that cost is nobody cares about shit. And Spurs is kind of...
And you know what's... And just on a broader level, if we can just take a step back and look at society as a whole, I feel as if, and Sam, you won't be able to relate to this, but the younger generation has been blamed for having this sort of mentality of like jumping from team to team, jumping from job to job, right? Like, whether it's like a sales job that you have in New York City or Chicago or LA, or if it's like you're a big time footballer and you want to just like move to the next big thing. But that's also a byproduct of how they're being viewed at by their superiors. And like, the superiors are not Gen Zers and Gen Xers. They're fucking boomers, and they're Sam's age. Like, it's not like... So I feel like this has been a byproduct of the... And that's just perpetuated by the increasing, money over everything mentality, both in sports and in business in general, which I know is like sort of redundant and repetitive. But if you like building a culture across anything, like, there needs to be some sort of level of patience with employees, with coaches, with players, with anybody. And that just doesn't exist in our society really anymore, because the bottom line is the bottom line, and the people who are responsible for hiring that entire team have to answer to the owner, and the owners are plural across the world are sick of losing money.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I wonder if like there's like a shift going on, and this is not going to be sort of like some sort of short-term thing. This is kind of a long-term thing where there's used to be coaches would be a great coach because they would coach somebody up, make them better players. I think like now it's more like the best coach is somebody who can come in and create a culture in a short amount of time and gets people to actually listen to them and follow them and just have a group of people buy into something. Not necessarily getting better in the long term, but just sort of in the shorter term, buying in. Mitch?
I want to push back on that a little bit. Creating a culture in a short amount of time is a bit of an oxymoron.
Yes.
You can get people behind an idea.
I agree. Yeah. Okay.
So I guess what I view of modern day coaches is somebody who can communicate like logic and tactic to a bunch of very talented individuals, and hopefully everybody's on the same page. Hopefully that coach is an effective enough communicator to where they can implement a game plan. And then maybe after a season or two of success or lack of failure, that turns into some semblance of a culture, if you want to use that word. But it doesn't feel like any coach, this sounds biased, but apart from Arteta, who has had the runway of time to actually build something, it doesn't sound like any coach in the last 5 to 10 years has had the ability and the leeway to build a actual culture. So it's the appearance of short-term success by logic and by tactics. And if you don't immediately see that success, your job's probably gone.
All right. Now that we've broken down human nature at its finest in the business world, quickly shout outs to Palace, nice win over Newcastle. I know Matt in Discord was not too pleased about that. Brighton just keeps doing what Brighton does. And Everton, it's going to be interesting. We got a Merseyside derby coming up this weekend. We're going to skip FPL this week. We'll be back next week. So for the weekend, we do have a couple games we got to talk about. City, Arsenal specifically. I mean, this is just arguably a title eliminator for a lot of people. So City come in with a game in hand and 6 points behind Arsenal. So if they win this weekend, they could then draw level with their game in hand. Now, we've talked about it a little bit, but Tyler, anything to add about sort of the City Arsenal game here?
I think Jurrien Timber's health is huge for this because I think he provides a level of quality in the attacking third that like they are now relying upon, which is kind of insane to say from like a right back standpoint. I think City are hitting their stride, and Arsenal now have to defend a 1-goal lead in a Champions League quarterfinal. And City, they have a midweek game.
No,
they have their midweek game. Correct? No,
I don't think that they play that. You're talking about the game in hand.
They have it the following week.
Yes, their next game is Arsenal on Sunday,
and City get the weekend off. Look at the celebrations. Look no further than the celebrations of the goals at Stamford Bridge. Mark Gahey's face when he scored that goal and when they celebrated Doku's goal, they know they're onto it. Like they're fully aware of the situation, and they know that like buttholes are clenching all over North London. So all of the momentum is with City, and like they just have to go out and play, and I think they'll win the game. And unfortunately, like I think Arsenal will be lucky to come away with a point in this game, if I'm being completely honest. I see no world in which Arsenal go into Etihad right now, given the current situation, and pull off a win. I just don't see it.
We've gotten up for these games in the past. We've dealt with Holland as well as anybody can. I do believe that if they score goals, it comes from elsewhere. The issue is elsewhere is popping right now. They can create goals from just about anywhere on the field. They look confident. I'm worried. I think this game ends 1-1. I hope this game ends 1-1.
Yeah, that's the operative word.
All right, it's a big one on Sunday. Obviously, there's some other games. Merseyside Derby being a pretty big one now that Everton is, nipping at everybody's heels up there at the top of the table. Every game in the relegation battle, Tottenham is hosting Brighton. I mean, it just would feel like found money if we get any result out of that at this point, given our struggles. Let's see what else. Forest hosting Burnley, West Ham hosting Palace on Monday. Yeah, so we suck. All right. Let's keep this moving. Halftime. Now, do we want to do the fascism-related weekly what if, or should we save it for Mikey and let him get his thoughts in?
Save it for Mikey.
Yeah.
This is a good weekly what if. I'm caught in two minds here because Mikey's pissed off about me ruining a bit, but there's the only way for me to ruin, the only way for me to come back at you guys with your dictator talk is to ruin a bit. So I'm just you painted me into a corner. I'll give you some golf claps there. Strategic.
A key element of fascism is painting a picture that you are the victim and that everyone else is against you. Just put that out there.
This is tough. I'm in a tough spot here. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't realize that Mikey's lying was infectious to others. Now, quickly, best and worst for Champions League round the world chatter here. Quickly, Tyler, which team has the best chance to overturn the deficit and which has the worst?
I think Liverpool have the best chance to overturn it. I think Barcelona have the worst, given Diego Simeone's comments.
Really? You think so?
Did you see what he said today?
No, I actually didn't.
He said, he goes, Barcelona's offside trap is not going to work on us. The reporter says, why? He says, because we're not going to attack.
I really trust Simeone.
And if he's saying that, just imagine how bad it's going to be. Like, because we've known him to do that in the past. Like, just imagine him verbalizing it. Like, I think Barcelona will struggle to break down 11 goalies.
All right. Okay. And by the way, for anybody under a rock who don't know the four matchups, we have PSG going, playing second leg up 2-0 against Liverpool. Real Madrid down 2-1 against world beaters Bayern. Barcelona down 0-2 against Atletico, and then Sporting 1-0 down against Arsenal. Mitch, quickly, any thoughts on that?
I think Madrid have a chance to come back. I don't think they will. I think Barcelona's buried. I think we pull it out, and I think PSG pulls it out.
I got it. I don't know. Barcelona, I know that if anybody can park the bus, the Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid can, but man, I just don't know if I'd want to be parking the bus for 90 minutes against Barcelona. All right. Let's do an extra spicy and extra quick MLS minute from the Minuteman himself, Tyler Nathaniel Terrence. What do you got for us, big man?
Got you. All right. So wild weekend in Major League Soccer. And we are going to start where we should always start if we're going to begin a story, and that's up in Canada. Toronto FC and FC Cincinnati played to a 1-1 draw. Red card for Kevin Denke for something that I didn't see, but apparently it happened, and it finishes all square at BMO. Meanwhile, Philadelphia Union get their first win of the season, but that means Donadell gets fired in Montreal. That is a doormat of a club. We will get to that a little bit later on. Mazel tov to Bradley Carnell and company on getting your first win of the season, 7 games in. LA Galaxy with a much-needed win on the road. I believe it's 21 times of asking that they've been able to get a road win in Major League Soccer, and they get it done over Nico Estevez and company in Austin. Portland Timbers with a 2-1 win over LAFC as LAFC finally concede in Major League Soccer play, and they lose, but they're obviously dealing with CONCACAF Champions Cup. They'll have a 3-0 lead heading back home against Cruz Azul, going on the road to Cruz Azul. New England Revolution 1, DC United 0, as New England are starting to maybe make a little bit of noise, but is anybody really listening? I don't know. Did a tree fall in the woods? Who cares? Vancouver Whitecaps 2, NYCFC 0 in a battle of the second places in the Eastern and Western Conference. But my goodness, Jesper Sorensen, what a job he has done since entering Canada. Inter Miami 2, Red Bulls 2. I love to see Inter Miami struggle. Give me the tears. They're almost as sweet as Arsenal teals when they're bottling, but not as sweet. Charlotte 1, Nashville 2, if we're going to speak about it in Sam terms, where we're talking about the losing team first and the winning team second. BJ Callahan and company will head down to Mexico, in Mexico City, to take on Club America in CONCACAF Champions Cup, and they'll do it on the heels of a big win in Major League Soccer play. Sporting Kansas City 1, San Jose 3. The boys from San Jose, Bruce Arena, Do you hear me calling, baby? This dude just knows how to win no matter what. One of the greatest coaches in the history of American soccer. Don't at me. FC Dallas won. St. Louis won. FC Dallas, they're not going to be too thrilled with that because St. Louis have been pretty mediocre. Meanwhile, Chicago Fire take care of Atlanta United by a score of 1-0, and that South African central defender, Mbokazi, has been fantastic since joining the Chicago Fire, and they get it done. Speaking of getting it done, Colorado Rapids put up a touchdown, but they missed the extra point. They beat Houston by a score of 6-2. Houston and Orlando City are trying to just shatter the MLS worst defensive record of all time, and they are on pace to both give up 150 goals this season. That might be an exaggeration. It might not be, but you can go and check. And then Minnesota United get a rare 3 points over San Diego FC 2-1, but saying the word Minnesota United honestly gives me a little bit of PTSD, so we're just not going to say it anymore. The Loons get the job done. Columbus Crew won, Orlando City won in a battle of two teams that have been extremely disappointing. But speaking of disappointing, Wessam Abu Ali, the DP for the Columbus Crew, out for the rest of the season with a torn ACL. You just absolutely hate to see it after he suffered a broken foot 2 games into his tenure with Columbus last year. So he is going to be unavailable for the rest of the season, and it just keeps getting worse for the Crew in the post-Wilfred Nazi era. And that would do it for match day number 7.
Well done, as always. Shout out Chicago Fire. 2nd place in the East. Oh, it's been a while. It's been a while since we've had something to cheer about here for MLS. And listen, last season I was all about the Chicago Fire because they were basically giving up goals and scoring goals. We only got 14 goals in 7 games, and that's 9 scored, 5 against. So they are off of my must bet on list, but I'm okay with that as long as they keep winning. So shout out to Greggy B and Chicago Fire. All right, let's head on. And by the way, this midweek is round is 32 in the U.S. Open Cup, which is when they welcome in MLS teams. So get ready for your cup set social media posts on Wednesday or Tuesday and Wednesday, whenever they're playing U.S. Open Cup. We'll move to stoppage time with Ivan Toney's best bets. Unfortunately, the overtrain is not cooking at all. We went 1-4 last week. I just was sort of patting myself on the back, saying how I had come all the way back from down to however many units I was, and I was up finally, right back down, right back into the mud. But all that means is I put a little extra effort in this week. Make sure you guys get nothing but winners. So we're going to go overtrain for Ivan Toney's best bet. Overtrain 5-a-side. It's Wednesday through Sunday. These are all going over. And in fact, they're all going over 3.5, except for one game on Thursday. So Wednesday, we're going to the Czech 2nd Division. Boy, if you thought my pronunciation of Rui in Ngamoha was bad, wait for this one. So it is Ústí nad Labem hosting MFK Trudem. Chrudym. Chrudim. I have no idea. I'm pretty sure I nailed that. Second, or on Thursday, we're going, this is over 2.5, the 1-2.5 game. AEK Athens hosting Rayo Vallecano in the Conference League. Friday, we're going to Bundesliga 2. Well, Elversberg is hosting Karlsruhe. Saturday, we're going to Slovenia, where Zelina is hosting Slovan Bratislava. And Sunday, we're coming a little closer to home here in MLS on the West Coast. Sunday night soccer, LAFC hosting San Jose Earthquakes. So again, those are all over 3.5, except for Thursday's Conference League game, which is over 2.5. Let's go make some monies. All right, Mitchell, what do you got? Ivan Toney's best bet.
I got 4 games for you, all on Saturday. All of these are both teams to score. Newcastle, Bournemouth, Frankfurt, Leipzig, Colorado Rapids, Inter Miami, and Cruz Azul, Tijuana, plus 360.
Nice. I had 2 of those as my sort of are they going to be my best bet? Anytime Colorado's involved, they got to be on the list. And I can't remember what's the other one. Anyway, good call. Tyler, what do you got? Ivan Toney's best bet.
Coming off of hitting my parlay. It was only 2 legs last week, but I nailed it. San Jose over Sporting Kansas City, and then Philadelphia getting their first win of the season over Montreal. So don't at me. If you think that my parlays don't hit, you're wrong. They do.
Are you keeping it simple again?
No, absolutely not. We're rolling with this momentum, and we're going. I'll do this. I'll reverse engineer it. This is plus 3,076. Okay, and here's how we get there. Lamine Yamal, 2 or more shots on target. Liverpool money line straight up to win the game, not to advance, just to win the game. Draw between Arsenal and Sporting, and then Bayern Munich money line. I don't think that's that ridiculous.
No, that's not crazy.
That's not that crazy.
There's a couple Liverpool to win is one that I think, some people might be a little nervous about.
But they could win
without
2-1
advancing, right? That's true.
Without advancing.
Okay. All right. Listen, plus 3,000. You already hit one of those. Didn't you already hit like one of those ridiculous?
Oh, I didn't. No, I didn't hit it. I was one result away.
It must have been Mikey. Somebody's like living off of some parlay they had a million years ago. All right. Well done, sirs. Let's finish strong with GOAWs. Mitch, what do you got?
Yeah, it's the Pulisic and Alexa Melton drama, I guess you could say, or lack thereof. This is in the U.S. men's soccer space about as close as we've ever gotten to like juicy drama that has transcended the soccer world into the normal people world. To give a very, very quick synopsis, Alexa on her Instagram received a comment about like, oh, he fumbled you, girl. And she was like, yeah, he wasn't God-fearing enough. He was also on Raya before it even ended. And that, I don't think she expected to pick up the momentum that it did. And I don't want credit for this, but I would like you to acknowledge that I did this and said this first in the Sam's Army Discord. I literally put in the U.S. men's national team channel, anybody up late and want to gossip. And then every other major news outlet picked it up the next morning. So I had that screenshot first. You can go back and check if you're in the Discord and paying $3.99 to be a Sam's Army Patreon member. And then as the blowback started, she walked back her comments and said, hey, I made some comments that were on a matter that was private and taken out of context, which I don't know how that happens. You gave the context. She kind of posted this really nice sunset picture and said, I'm sorry, this is the last I'll be speaking on this. Christian is not a cheater. And that's case closed. She
got the call from the lawyer.
She got the call from somebody. I don't know who, and I don't know from which camp, but she got the call. The reason she is my GOA is because 3 hours after that really aesthetic Instagram story apology, she dropped a DraftKings sponsorship post. It is a video of her on a golf course reading a pre-read script. And this is a DraftKings partner post where she's like, man, I wish I could bet on the Masters this weekend. Well, you can with DraftKings. It is just 4D chess when it comes to social engagement. She saw perhaps the most social traction she's gotten in the past 6 months and said, well, seems like a good enough time to drop the DraftKings post. So I'm not mad at it one bit. I want to applaud the strategy that went into this. It probably came at a price, but got your engagement. And I do think that based on those metrics, DraftKings will be picking her up for another sponsorship deal.
My go is Sam, because he puts up with our bullshit and us making fun of him literally nonstop. And I don't know if he's a sadomasochist or not, because it seems like he almost gets enjoyment out of it. And he's frozen again, and it's pissing me off. But we make fun of him so much, and it's just he keeps coming back, and he keeps hosting, and he keeps like wanting to be friends with us and wanting to do this. And he's saying right now that he wants to do the GOA after I do mine, which no shit, like, because that's the order that we're going, and I'm the last one to do it. But he is frozen, and I feel like we should just end the pod here, because I'm done, and he should be suspended, and Mikey should be set free. # free Mikey.
# free Mikey.
We will be back, but definitely not bigger, better, faster, and stronger, especially if Sam has the same Wi-Fi, which he's using dial-up. So have a good week, everybody.
Bye, guys.